Cool. All right. Well, welcome everybody to Get to the Point. I'm so privileged and honored to interview one of my good friends and partners, business partners, and Robert Hollis Jr. If you don't know this guy, you must have been sleeping under a rock the past 10 years because he's a superstar marketer. He's a six-figure earner, and his father's a legend in the industry. And I got some really awesome questions to ask him. I'm excited to ask him. And we did an interview like a year ago. I'm not sure if everybody knows that, but just revisiting him again. I'm just always happy to sit down and talk to him. And so I want to thank you, Robert, for coming and making time. I know you're super busy with the new baby, and welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Jonathan. It's an honor and a privilege to be here, and thank you so much for reaching out to me to do this interview. I've been seeing you interview some of the top people in the industry, and so proud of what you're doing. I know you're rocking it in a business that you're already with, and truly an honor to be here. So thank you very much for asking me.
Awesome. So the first question is the same as I ask everybody. Why should people listen to you?
Why should people listen to me? That's an interesting question. I think it just really goes back to one of my favorite statements that my father always says is, documentation beats conversation. One thing that I think is really interesting, especially about internet marketing nowadays and, us doing these videos, is I feel that it's like the wild west. As long as somebody can pay some money to get a blog up or a website up, and they can figure out how to put videos on YouTube. There's so many people out there that are claiming they can show you how to make money, that they can help you in your business, and if you do any research on them whatsoever, they've got no documentation to back it up. I'm not going to even name names, but I know even somebody in some of our companies, they're claiming to be these huge superstars, but if you look at their track record, they've never made any money. So, not to boast myself that, I'm a super guru in the industry or that I know it all, but, I have had a track record of being able to help people make money and make a lot of money myself. More or less, I think why people should listen to me is just because, I'm passionate about really helping people, and I learned that from my father and also from a lot of other mentors that I've been around. There's nothing worse than, working with somebody and they're really just all in it for themselves. And, unfortunately, it doesn't matter if it's internet marketing, network marketing. I feel like a lot of people out there just look at their downlines as downlines. They look at their people that they sign up in their affiliate company as ID numbers in dollars. You talk to anybody that I personally work with, I don't call them my downline, I call them my family. I truly care of building a culture with our organization and our family, and treating people the way they deserve. And I know when you do treat it that way, that's when you can really get loyalty, and build a customer base that'll last with you for a lifetime. In traditional network marketing, they always say that the summer times are some of the worst times to be building. And more often than not, everybody's volume goes down. And with my primary company, I actually talked to some leaders, and they were saying, "Man, we just got to figure this thing out with the summertime. Our volume's going down." And I kind of smiled and I go, "My volume's going up." And they're going, what are you doing? I go, the same thing I've been doing for years. The people that I work with are family. Yeah, it's summertime, but they're going to stick around because I care about them and I take care of them. So, if anything, I know it's a long answer to your question is, bottom line is documentation. Are there people out there that make more money than me that's had more success? Absolutely. But, I do have a track record, and I do treat my people like family. The people I surround myself with now, I didn't know before this industry, and they're my best friends and family members. So.
Awesome, great answer. How did you feel when you first were able to buy your first BMW after you finally were successful in network marketing?
That's a great question, and that was. Gosh, how did I feel? It was, almost euphoric. It honestly was. I remember the first night that I bought the car. not only did I go around to all my family members, my team members that I worked with and was showing them the car. I don't know how many miles I put on it the first night, but I remember I was in the garage. I think it was probably, 2, 3 in the morning, and I was just having a beer, just staring at it, being so grateful and almost in a place where it was almost like I said surreal because if anybody's ever listened to my trainings as far as creating your why and have a strong purpose and have it very visual, I was like that with the M3. I mean that, I went to the BMW dealership at least once a week. Driving in between where I lived and where the office was, there was a dealership off the side of the freeway, and every day I would look over to see if I can find the M3, and I would pretend that I was driving it when I was in this busted minivan. Any video on YouTube, any research on it, I researched it, I read it, I knew the weight distribution, the horsepower, the interior. I could smell it. It was something that I wanted so bad, and it was such a visual for me. And to be honest with you guys, when I first started doing that kind of stuff, I was so broke I couldn't pay attention. I mean, I'm living in a hotel, driving a busted minivan, and here I am dreaming about a car that was base model $72,000. Though I believed I could get it, though I had a burning passion and a why to get it, for me to get it that fast was just, I can't really explain it. It was really euphoric, but also I felt just so grateful for it. I felt so blessed. I know, some people when they get their car and they don't appreciate it, man, I treated that thing like my baby. But still to date sometimes, even the cars that I've driven, it's like crazy that somebody that's a high school dropout, stoner skater, I've been to jail 4 times, could ever accomplish those kind of things. I remember telling my mother, I love my mother to death. She lives in North Dakota, and she has a beautiful home in North Dakota that I think she paid $80,000 for. So wow. For anybody watching this, it's a difference. You can't buy a shoebox in California for 80 grand. In the Midwest, and I told her I went out and I bought this M3. Well, my mom didn't know anything about cars, but my stepfather has a 5 Series BMW. And he goes,
nice.
Buy one M3. And he's like, a new one? Those are like, I think like 80 grand. And my mom immediately, what are you doing buying a car that expensive? Yeah, are you going to be able to pay for it? It's like one of my favorite statements is, you're doing really well in life when other people are worried about your spending habits and other people are worried about the kind of money you're making. That's when you're really clicking. So, I can't really sum it up and really how I felt, but it was definitely euphoric, and it was just such a blessing. I remember just staring at the car sometimes nights, just being so grateful and happy that I got it.
That's awesome. That answer was great. The kind of feeling that you get is like it's unexplainable, really. So you can't really explain it all in one word.
Yeah, it's like I've had a lot of people now. For people that don't know, my son just turned 6 weeks this weekend, and
congratulations.
Poog, I know you're a father, but it's like, oh my gosh, what did it feel like when you finally got to see him and hold him? And it's like, you can't explain it. It's a feeling like no other,
It's like in your heart, your whole being. It's like the feeling that you can never explain, or it's so much joy. That's what I get.
Yeah.
But awesome, man. So, what do you think you need to change as a leader right now to make $1 million in 1 year?
What do I need to change as a leader? I really think, and I've even thought of this, is it's really all just about your perception. Perception's reality, and also, and I, piggyback on that. I've even had people ask me the question, well, man, if your father's created 44 millionaires and you've been working with them for this long, why aren't you number 45 yet? What's going on? And very simply, my answer to that is, it's just your perception and really what you want in life. See, I'll use another story. I have a really, really good friend of mine. He's one of my best friends. We've known each other for years, and we were actually roommates at a time. And the best way I could describe him as a character is just, he's kind of a hippie. You know, he's a really, really, really good guy. You know, he's life of the party. He's one of those guys that you could call up at 2 in the morning for a favor, and he'll be there for you. He's probably got more friends than anybody I know. And I had to learn this really on in my career, is I would always come to him and say, listen, man, you know, you got to stop being average, and you got to start working with me. I can show you how much money you can make. And he was not interested whatsoever. You know,
Right.
he got inherited a beautiful home now in Portland. I think it's like a 5-bedroom home, and he's got 4 roommates.
Oh, wow.
You know, as long as he's got a car that can get him places, and he's got his farm, and he's got his friends around him, he's the kind of guy that does not in any way, shape, or form want to drive an expensive car. He doesn't want to live in a big home by himself. He lets his friends stay there. So why am I saying all this is, you know, amateur sort or professional sort, amateur sell. I had to get it in my mind that this guy was as happy, if not more happy than me, being average and not driving a BMW. Now, you know, a one step further, here I am. I grew up with my mother very young, and we had, you know, we were in a lot of, I guess you say, borderline poverty. We never really struggled, but, you know, typical, hey, I want new shoes. I bought you brand new shoes at the beginning of the year. You know,
Right.
we really didn't have too much, and you know, I reached out and started doing my skating thing, and once again, I was happy there. I knew my father made millions of dollars. You know, I knew I could make more money, but I was traveling the country. I was skating. I was happy there. And when I started working with my father, all of a sudden, you know, I get the dream car that has been my dream car for, you know, 5, 6 years. I always wanted an M3. You know, here I am making weekly checks residual of more than I used to make, you know, 2 months at a job.
Right.
I was the happiest person you ever met in your life. You know, I lived on the beach. I had my dream car. I had my dream woman. You know, if anybody hears my story, I retired at age 30. And because I'm just a blue personality type, I work really hard to have fun. I didn't buy an M3 to drive around and say, ha ha, look at my cool car. Well, I love driving the M3. You know what I mean? And, you know, like I said, is perception's just reality. Now, you know, making $100,000 a year isn't cool anymore. More importantly than that, you know, now that I have my son, you know, I think that we've lived a great lifestyle, but one of my dreams now is that, you know, I really want to homeschool my son and also want to travel the world with him. I've got this crazy passion in my head that, you know, I used to hate history, you know, hate social studies. You know, there's nothing worse than reading out of a textbook of, you know, a war or a place on the planet, but yet I remember every field trip we went on. You know, I don't remember how young I was, but I still remember the Civil War, you know, reenactment, and when we went to places. I don't know how young I was, but I can still remember those vividly. You had me pull out a test of, write down a test of that Civil War or anything out of a textbook. I can't remember that. So, you know, I now have this thing where I want to take my son to all these different places and learn about the Incas while we're in South America and learn about, you know, the Pilgrims in Plymouth Rock when we're over in New England. And, you know I can't do that with making, you know, 6 figures a year. And, you know, it's not about me anymore. So, you know, I think really what I have to change is just open my mind more, you know, to, you know, believe in that, just like I believed in getting, you know, the M3, is just now, you know, using the law of attraction and meditating on making $1 million a year, making, you know, 100,000 plus a month, because, you know I can get there, but until I, you know, believe I can and have the vision of what I'm going to get there, because, you know, you take me, I guess it would be, you know, 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, living on the beach, you know, making $15,000 a month. It was more money than I could spend. I had no ambition to make $100,000 a year. I didn't even know what I would spend it on. Now, you know, after seeing my dad's ghost and, you know, seeing, you know, Lamborghinis and stuff, I know exactly what I'll be spending that money on. So, you know, what I think I just need to, and everybody is change my as far as a leader, is just broaden my vision. You know, have a clearer goal and a bigger vision of what I'm going to do.
Awesome, man. Awesome. You know, you know, you're talking about history. So let's just throw a question. This is a fun question. I'm sure everybody knows. Who discovered America?
Christopher Columbus, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think.
Hey,
Right? What year? I don't remember the year.
I have no idea, man.
1492 or
I have
actually,
no idea.
I think the Indians discovered the United States first,
Yeah, there you go.
but who knows? um, who, who's your favorite mastermind buddies?
My favorite mastermind buddies. As far as me personally, there's a lot of people that I really like masterminding with. Of course, my father is definitely got to be one of the top ones up there. Bill Ebert is such an amazing person. But I've got a lot of people, within my company that I work with that I really like to mastermind with. Mikkel Pradier is one of them. Andy, and I've really now been seeking out other people to talk to. So, as far as me masterminding, and I'll even give this out to a lot of people out there, is that, we always say is that you become who you hang around, and your income is determined by the top 5 people you hang out with the most. I still reach out and look up to people that are, now that I'm working with my father in Success in Minutes, have done that stuff. I've, reached out to people like Ray Higdon and Jonathan Budd and Todd Falcone, and I love listening to these guys and being able to talk with them. Another gentleman I work really close with is a guy named Mike Miramoto as far as our corporate side, and me and him, we've got a little bit of a competition because when he first started, or I should say when I first started working with him, he was a corporate side of one of our companies, and his dream was he wanted to be a public speaker. He wanted to do motivational speaking. Now, at that time, I was just getting started as well, so we always try to one-up each other. I went to a training of his last Thursday, and he got off the stage and looked at me and goes, you haven't heard that before, huh? And then I, learn some stuff, and I get up on stage, and it's kind of like we're in this friendly competition to, see who can come up with new material and push each other. So, I've got a lot of people, but still, as far as personal development goes, I think there's just so much out there that, I still haven't listened to and still want to go through. There's an amazing book from I'm actually going to put the video up today because everything evolves. There's a book called The Cell is Given. I can't think of the author's name right at the top of his head, but and I'm sure I could ask you, Jonathan, what in sales, what does ABC mean?
ABC? ABC means ABC. I don't know. Tell me.
Remember Glengarry Glen Ross, always be closing.
Oh, always be closing.
Yeah. Right. Well, there's this whole book out, and this guy has an idea that closing is just dead. There is no such thing as closing anymore, and I'm actually going to upload my video after this so you guys can see it. But man, I feel like if you seek things out, you can be learning every single day. So it's awesome, especially with the internet and marketing nowadays. How much you can really just sit down and work on yourself. Honestly, one of my favorite mastermind persons is myself and getting on the internet and listening to audios. I struggle reading, but I love listening to audios and videos.
That's something that we have in common because reading for me, I get distracted. But if I see it and listen to it, I really get it. So that's something that me and you have in common there. So that's awesome. And masterminding, would you say is a key to be successful in the industry?
Yeah, absolutely. Only because it just, I did, even though I said I like doing videos and stuff, but you can get around other people, and like I said, perception's reality. A lot of people have different perceptions of things that can really open your mind to get you to think differently. Not only that, what I think is really important about masterminding is, having people around you push you. Right. Even with us doing videos like this, and other people doing YouTube videos. I was masterminding with some of my family members the other day, and this wonderful lady, and I'll even say her name, Melody Ribas. I pushed her. Yeah, awesome. I pushed her to do videos, and she was deathly afraid to do it. She fought me tooth and nail to not do it. I said, you have to. And I mean, when she put up her first video, even though she's my family member, I work with her closely, I was flat out impressed on what she did. And now all of a
Yes.
sudden, especially females are coming up to her saying, "Wow, you inspired me so much. You know, you motivated me so much. How did you get up the courage to do those videos?" And you know, if we never sat down and mastermind, she still probably wouldn't put up videos. And you know, even like myself, there's a lot of things that I wouldn't have done and got out of my comfort zone unless I had people like my father and people like Mike Miramoto to push me to do those things. So I think masterminding is healthy. You know, keeps the mind going, and you know, I don't think it's unnecessary to be successful, but it's definitely huge. You know, a lot of things aren't necessary in life, but why would you not use them to excel to the next level?
Exactly. Exactly. So what were the first lessons that you learned when you first got started in network marketing? You know, when you're going through beginning, the lessons that really hit home, that really improved you as a successful marketer.
Man, there are so many. I could go on and on about how many lessons that I learned. Um, you know, one of the biggest ones really was personal development and working on yourself. That was a huge lesson that I learned in the very beginning, and I still encourage everybody to do so, because a lot of people just feel like if they just learn the information and they put the work in and they just keep going, that they'll become successful, when that's really not the case. You really got to work on yourself and look at improving yourself. You know, if I really looked at myself back when I first got started to where I am today, as far as me personally, it's like night and day. You know, you really got to understand that you're going to school to learn something new. Learning things that you can't learn in school, you can't learn anywhere else. You know, I tell people that you master network marketing and the tools and the techniques that you need to learn to become successful. You can take that and go anywhere. You can go get a job somewhere and probably become successful. It helps you with your personal life. It helps you with, I think, patience and raising children and your love life. There's no doubt in my mind that, if I met Amy before I was a network marketer, I probably wouldn't have been such a good salesperson to convince her to stay with me, But another really huge one is being patient and consistent. I think that especially in network marketing, it's the only profession in the world that people just bottom line treat it as a lottery ticket.
Right.
People get in, they put a little effort in, they expect to be successful. When they don't, they quit. Is not to get discouraged, to keep going, to persevere, because everybody can become successful in network marketing. It's just a matter of if you're willing to change and grow, and if you're really willing to stick it out and stay with it. Because another huge one is being patient, is to not get emotionally attached sometimes. And it is very hard to not do this, but you got to learn how to do it over time, because some people are gonna leave. Some people are going to tell you that you're stupid. Somebody that you put a lot of time and an effort. I can't tell you how many people that I've got involved with my business. They had massive potential. They had the skills. Their group started growing, and they got discouraged and they decided to quit. Or they even decided to go to another network marketing company, and that can, eat you up inside. I've had people that I didn't even want to talk to because I was so upset with it. But, guess what? There's millions of people out there, and you just got to keep going. I love how Lisa Grossman said, is not only do we not want everybody to do this, but you get to pick and choose who you get to work with.
Right.
And I guess another really huge one, like I said, I can go on forever and ever with this, is really how to become patient and understanding and caring of other people. I really believe if you can master that, is one of the hugest assets you can have in any type of business, because there's always people in your group that you don't like, that that annoy you, that I can go on and on and on, and not to be negative, but the more that you can tolerate that and be able to build a relationship with that person and come from an understanding from that person, the more successful you'll be, and you got to be humble doing so. I think one of the biggest things that I really had to learn even after a while, when I started really making money, is that hey, I'm the man and I know it. And having somebody who's brand new come up to me and say, listen, can I have some of your time? Can I have questions? Listen, man, listen to the videos, watch the meetings, I don't want to hang out with this person, and that'll really, really cripple your business. And I was really young and had very fast success, but, I really think that the more that you can just, humble yourself and be relatable with people, and listen to them and be able to understand their problems and their wants and their needs, the more you can listen to somebody and find out what they really want, the more successful you'll be. Not everybody's going to get involved in network marketing because of the reason you did. I'll even use Melody, because I already said her name, as another example, is that she was 100% not interested in doing the business. She wasn't interested in money. She actually hated sales. She hated network marketing, but she wanted to use the product. And after her believing in the product and loving the product, she's now one of my top reps. Well, if I didn't listen to her and I said, listen, because some people do that. It's not about the product. It's all about the money. We need to get a return on your investment. We need to write down your goals. What kind of cars would you like to drive? Well, if I immediately did that with Melody, she probably wouldn't be here today.
Right. Right.
And you really got to be a chameleon. Adapt to people. Some people are really high energy. Partiers, fun. If you're drawn out and not fun around those people, they're not going to want to work with you. You hang out with somebody that's really reserved, caring, loves people, and all you want to do is be excited and rah fun. You're not going to relate with those people. So that took me really a long time, because I was always such an introvert. And it was really hard for me to get out of my comfort zone. But the more that I realized that this is a people business, and you got to make people love and respect and trust you, once you can get over that hurdle, everything else is a lot easier.
That was well said, because I think a lot of people, when if they're live listening, or when they come back to listen to what you just said, it's really going to hit home, because I see people, I'm sure you do, getting mad at their people because they don't respect their decision to quit, or to not do the business. Maybe they just want to be a customer, and then their upline gets mad and say, write down 200 people on the list and give them to me. So I think what you just said there is very refreshing, and it'll help people understand and know how to do the business the right way.
Yeah, one huge one. Sorry, like I said, I could go off on forever about lessons that I've learned, but one of my favorite statements that my father told me is that, if you're a dairy farmer and you need to get more milk, there's two things you can do. Is one, whip your cows, or two, go get more milk, or go get more cows. And that, because I get that question a lot, Jonathan, just like you said, when people try to beat up their people, and we can do this and we can do this. There's so many times that I've had leaders or people come to me and saying, perfect example is now summertime. Hey, listen, summertime, it's slowing down, the volume's going down. We got to figure out how to get these people engaged. We got to figure out how to get them excited. So we're going to come up with this new training, and we're going to make sure they write a list, and we're going to tell them unless they hit star 500, they can't come to our trainings. And they, I think a lot of leaders in network marketing consistently try to find new whips to whip their cows. You know what I mean? I think it's so funny, because the number one way to motivate your team is fear loss. Fear loss and leading by example. I'm not going to say his name, but perfect example, like I said before, this guy got in the company, he rocked it. He was by far the fastest growing person on my team. He was outgoing, he was sharp, great guy, loved people, then disappeared. I reached out to him, see what was going on, just personal reasons, whatever. And now all of a sudden he's hitting me up, because he's seen that when I left, his team is still growing. I found other leaders our family members' meetings are getting bigger. And I didn't go out there and try to whip him to get him back in shape. He's going, my gosh, these guys are going to do it with or without me.
Right.
So the more that, I know people get attached and love their people, but, I mean, the funny thing about whipping your cows is the more you whip them, the less milk they want to produce. And you got to be a friend and family member first and foremost to your people. You don't want to be the upline where when you call them, it's like, oh, crap, Jonathan's calling me again. He's going to yell at me because I wasn't at training. He's going to get mad at me because I didn't do three-ways. Yeah. I'd rather just not answer his call, and better yet, I don't going to go to the training this weekend again because I know when I see him, he's just going to yell at me.
Exactly.
So I have people that have been with me for years and years and years and never produced, but every time I see him, I get a smile, I give him a hug. So great to see you. It's just, I think it's funny, and I know a lot of leaders in network marketing do that. It's consistently, what's the new shiny thing? What's the new idea of the month? How are we going to motivate our team, and how are we going to, get these people to finally go to work? Well, if you just lead by example, it's funny how everybody else wants to, run with your pace and don't want to get left behind.
Awesome. That question right there, man. I'm telling you, Robert, that's going to help a lot of people understand it a lot better. So, very, very great answer, and I thank you for that. This is a cool question. I actually want to know too. I don't know who actually answered this or submitted it, but one of my favorite ones. What's the most you've ever made in a month?
What's the most I've ever made in a month? In 1 month, including if it takes network marketing, and when I was doing affiliate marketing with my father, I believe it was a little under $30,000 that I made for 1 month.
Wow.
For anybody that asked that question too, which I think is really funny, there's a website out there. I'm not going to name it, but I know they put up everybody's income, and according to them, I've been making $35,000 a month, which isn't true.
Oh, really?
I've made right around $30,000 for 1 month before, but I'll be honest, I didn't do it consistently for a long period of time. It was just the right timing with the situation and everything. So haven't got there past that yet, but soon to be.
That's incredible. 30 grand a month. Some people don't make that in a whole year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You made that in 1 month. So that's incredible. Incredible. So how long did it take you to actually hit full time? In network marketing?
How long did it take me to go full time? Some people probably are not going to like this answer. I'm going to put up another video kind of talking about this later, but when I wish I could remember the exact date, but when I first started working with my father, and I'm going to do a whole video on this later about letting go, but he came out to California. I worked with him, but I still had a full-time job. I honestly wasn't taking it too serious, even though I was, jacked out of my mind to do it. And that was probably a whole 6 months that we were in California trying to get this company going. And my father decided that this wasn't the right company. He went back to Montana. So right when he left, I realized that I really, loved this industry. I didn't want to have a job anymore. I saw the potential in it. So if anybody's heard my story, I put everything in storage, I dropped my sponsors, and took a one-way plane ticket to Montana. After I was in Montana, it took me, I think, about a year and a half. Until I really, now, even though in that year and a half I was technically kind of full-time, but to me, I wasn't really making a full-time income. I think that the first year I only made like around $10,000 or $15,000. Which, you can't really survive on that. I know some people might be able to. But really when I went full-time was January of 2009. And, I think it has a lot to do with it because, when I was in Montana, we lived in a city that had 2 stoplights. Wow. And I was trying to build it solely off of home-based business leads. Now, I think, with how time is flying, that leads are way better nowadays. I still think the only really good home-based business lead out there is one that you generate, using something like Success in Minutes or your videos and stuff like that. But, I remember my father sat down and he bought me 500 home-based business leads. These are people that went to a captures page, said, yes, I want to make money from home. And he said, listen, just call them. And, I don't know if you've even heard this story, but how many people do you think I signed up out of those 500?
Oh, at least 500. No, I know how many. I remember your story because I've watched it, when you did that. You signed up 0.
0. Yeah, and I can't even go back to how upset I was back then. It was like, oh my gosh, I gave up everything. I gave up my lifestyle to come learn from Dad, this supposed guru in the industry, and blah 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 blah. And I called all these leads and didn't make any money. I mean, I was so frustrated. I was so upset. Even doubting myself. Was this the right decision to do? But I'm not going to make the a short story long. But my dad knew that I was working on myself and the skill sets. I know that if I didn't spend that year and a half working on myself, that when I finally did go full time, even though I still, to be honest with you, wasn't prepared for how much success that I had, I wouldn't have been ready. So, and probably in total, I would say about a year and a half to 2 years before I was really wide open full. Let's just say 2 years. About 2 years till I was wide open full time, considering myself a professional network marketer. I wouldn't even say myself professional at that time. Let's just say a full time.
That's awesome. So people out there that call leads, generated or not, or purchased, if they don't sign anybody up, it's still helping them. It's going to help them in their skills, right? Correct?
Absolutely. See, what I really think about that is, there's the whole story of, I think it was Abraham Lincoln, believe it or not, that said it, that, if I had, the time to cut down a tree, I would spend 90% of my time sharpening my axe and 10% of the time swinging. And calling leads, the more that you're doing it, the better you're getting, the more your sword is getting sharpened. Because we all know probably the biggest fear of network marketing and the biggest thing that holds people back is somebody gonna say no. And
right.
If you can go through, I tell people, if you just went online and got 100 home-based business leads from whatever source. I know a lot of them, if you can just Google free leads, there's a lot of people that'll do deals that, for $25 you get your first 100 free or whatever it is. But I believe if you called 100 leads and got 100 no's, that is huge personal development. You're getting better over the phone. You're not so afraid if somebody's going to tell you no. I remember that was my biggest fear, of somebody saying no. And now it's like, well, listen, I don't want to make money from home. And it's like, seriously? Why'd you bought the information? As soon as somebody said no, I'd hang up the phone. Or, another example, I remember where people would go, well, why are you calling me? It's like, I don't know, hang up the phone. And now I was coaching some people call leads the other day. I say, one of my favorite things to do is when you get a negative person on the phone is see how long you can keep them on the phone.
That's fun.
It's fun. It's like, well, why are you calling me? Well, why'd you fill out a survey online to make money from home? Well, I didn't. So your name's not Jonathan Puga and your email address and your phone number's not this? Well, it is. Listen, Jonathan, we got a problem here. What's the problem? I think you need to call in to your local credit bureau or call the police because somebody stole your ID and they're filling out information online. So we need to fit, And,
that's freaking hilarious, man.
Yeah, and you can't get over that unless you just go out. Another example I would say as far as calling leads is, I always love using things that I can relate with, and just like rollerblading, skating, being a professional skater, is that a lot of kids or a lot of people look at skaters or professional extreme athletes and say, wow, I'd love to do that. But you have to understand why they call it extreme sports is there's no possible way that you can become good at those sports without getting hurt. You almost got to love the pain. It's like, weeks after getting done skating, all our friends would sit around and compare our scars, and, oh, look what I did to my shin today, and, oh, look at my hand, it's swollen. You got to consistently get beat up over and over and over again. Even surfing. You want to become a good surfer, you're going to have some near drowning experiences, before you get good. And I think in network marketing and leads, people just want to skip all that. They just want to know the script, they just want to know what to say, and they just want to call everybody and just have everybody sign up. And in reality, that's never going to happen. People, only respond to, I believe it's 15% of what you say. So you could have the best script in the world, say it the best, and still have 85% fail ratio, because why? People respond to more your tone, your attitude, your excitement, your posture. Somebody with great posture, attitude, excitement over the phone could say everything wrong and get more signups than somebody that just doesn't have any practice. So yeah, I even, if you're afraid to talk to people, I had a lady that wrote down her list of 100 people, and she was afraid to death to call them. And I actually, like you said, Poog, I suggested that. I said, why don't you just buy some leads so you can call a couple, a handful of people just to have them say no to you, so you can get over that fear and then call your list. So yeah, regardless if you're getting yes or no's, if you're on the phone and you're talking to people, you're getting better every single day. For every no, I think you personally get better with every no that you get. Getting a yes, I want to sign up is easy. Then you just got to send them the affiliate link and get them started. Getting a no is a lot more personal development.
Actually, you're right. You're correct. And something that you're really good at that I really like that I do also, but you're really good at this, is if someone says no to you, you don't just blow them off. You make a friend, and the time, you understand timing, and it might not be the current right time for them, and that's a purchase lead or an unpurchased lead, and you're really good on your trainings. The way that you handle that, you don't beat them up, or if they don't want to join, you make a friend and you say keep in contact with you, and the business, it's about sorting and timing. So I think that's really great that you teach that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's huge. It's just all about building relationships.
Actually, you're right. So awesome answer. People will get a lot of value from that. If you had to start all over today and talk to your younger self, what advice would you give yourself?
If I had to start all over, I would say honestly is dream bigger, faster. Honestly, awesome. Because even though I kind of gave it a hard time, it's funny. My dad just told me we started January 2006, so it was almost 3 years till I went full time. But how would I explain this? The more that I really think a lot of people's success really has to do of their belief in themselves, using the law of attraction, and really having those dreams there. Because going all the way back to when you ask me, what do I mentally got to change as a leader to become, make $1 million a year? If I was my younger self and I could visually know that I could make it, well, where would I have been where if I said an M3 sucked? I want a Lamborghini Gallardo. And I had that much intent and that much drive and that much focus where, hey, I don't need to make, 70, 80 grand to get a car. I need to make 200,000 to get this car. And I wouldn't have let up and been relentless. I would have no idea where I would be today. But
that's awesome.
Yeah, but I think that, because people just limit themselves on their passion and limit themselves on what they believe they can do. Because just like Henry Ford said, whether you say you can or you can't, you're right. So, if I could go back to myself, I think the biggest thing I would say is that you got to dream bigger and dream, bigger faster, because it is so, accomplishable, in especially this profession. I don't know anywhere else that, I love telling my story, and I say I want somebody to find this story and duplicate it in anything else that's legal. Okay, maybe you might be able to, do it illegally, but, somebody that's, dropped out, I got no work experience, no education, criminal background, And to go from that to, making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, it's like a rags to riches story, and I don't know any other profession that can produce that. I really don't. And the biggest reason too, I would say that is, like I said before, it's like, if it mentally my mind when I got to $3,000 a week and I was making $15,000 a month just from my residual from one company, that I thought I was the man. Not necessarily that I thought I was the man, but I thought I made it. It was like, man, I'm making more than a week than I used to make at 2 months at my job. I got everything. I made it. I made it beyond that. But if I would have set my sights so much higher, I would have kept going and I would have stayed so much more consistent with it.
Right.
Because it's so worth it. It really is. I know that you got to have what do I say, levels with it. You've got to be balanced is what I'm trying to say. You got to be balanced in your life, because I know that sometimes I've worked so hard for something that I get burnt out, and when I reach my goals, I don't want to do anything. So really becoming balanced with everything and believing that you can do it, and even though we all might say that we want a Lamborghini and say that we want a home on Newport Beach, we can all say that, we can all write it down in our goals, but until you believe you're going to get it, until you have that unwavering why, that complete passion of getting it, it's not going to happen. It's just a dream. It's just a wish. It's not really a goal that you're going to accomplish. You've got to believe in it and believe it's there for you. So,
That's awesome.
yeah, I could go back is really just instilling myself is dream bigger, faster.
That's awesome, man. Awesome. We need to make some T-shirts that say that. Dream bigger, faster. So last year you went to the GoPro event, and Eric Worre, and you saw the 30 and under panel of millionaires. And how did that make you feel that you weren't up there?
Well, it was funny. It wasn't 30 and under millionaires, but it was. I wasn't. I was 32 at the time, so I wasn't able to get up there.
Okay.
But I just think it's just so amazing to see, especially nowadays, I feel like in network marketing that the younger generation is picking this up faster and getting it. And I really think the reason why is that, network marketing, or I should just say the world as a general, they say is the Generation Y, or the younger people nowadays, especially with the internet, are really seeing the flaws of the standard, how would you say it, the standard system. Because I guarantee if you talk to, my father or, anybody in that age generation and ask them, okay, well, listen, what if I could teach you how to start your own home-based business? You wouldn't have to go to college. You wouldn't have to worry about all that stuff. What would you think about that? And I guarantee 99% of them would say, you're flat out crazy. Everybody knows the way to make it in America is you got to go to school, you got to get good grades, you got to get an education and work your way up the corporate ladder. Where nowadays, and even younger and younger, I met a young kid the other day that was 17, and he actually got a business loan from a bank at age 17 to help start one of these businesses that he's passionate about. So I think
awesome.
Yeah, that when seeing that under 30 panel up there was just such an inspiration, because I think soon in GoPro they're going to have an under 20 panel.
Yeah.
Because kids now are so they can go on the internet and look at people like Les Brown, or I guarantee like with Success in Minutes that there's going to be a young kid surfing the internet that's going to run across it, going to go through the training, and going to be a superstar in home-based business arena by the time he's 18 years old, if not younger. I really believe that in the future we're going to have huge events where it's like a millionaire walking the stage and he's 20 years old. It's going to be crazy. So to me, that really excites me. I just feel like with the younger crowd that, a lot of times they need to be babysat a little bit more, but they're getting more aware, and I think it really comes down to is they're looking at their grandparents, retiring with, not enough money to survive. They're looking at their parents that did everything they're telling them to do, and they're broke and they're unhappy. So when you approach somebody like that as, listen, you can learn from a millionaire and make money from home, they're all about it. And one thing I love about young kids too is they're just, how would I say it, naive to the point where they'll believe it. You know, you sit down with an 18-year-old and say, listen, if you do everything I tell you to do, if you put effort in, you know, you can be making a part-time income by the time summer's over and you won't have to go get a job in school. And they go, okay. You know, you tell that to older people, it's like, listen, I've been lied to my whole life. You know, how do I got to put in work, you know, and the whole treat it like a lottery thing. So, I thought that was amazing to get up there. Or to see all the young kids get up there, but you know, I don't think it was the millionaires under 30. But my goal, honestly, with the GoPro and stuff like that, is, you know, I want to be up there making millions and millions a year, and that's, you know, definitely one of my biggest goals.
Yep. Well, I know that you'll be there, so that's awesome, man. Awesome. When people say that because you're a junior, your father built your group, and you got lucky with success. What do you say to those people? And do you label them haters or just ignorant, or neither?
I would label them just, I guess, just ignorant, because ignorant really isn't a bad word. It just means you don't know that you don't know. And I know people do that with, you know, really everything. You know, people are ignorant about a lot of things, and a lot of people jump to a lot of conclusions about that stuff. You know, I always use this as sorting. You know, when you're calling your list, is that, you know, if you had your dream car in your mind, and, you know, I'll even use you, Jonathan. So what's your dream car? Money's not an object.
My dream car, money's not an object. I'm pretty simple, but if I'm gonna go out there, Ferrari.
Ferrari.
No, Lamborghini.
Okay. Lamborghini Gallardo, or.
I don't know the exact model. Just a Lamborghini that's green, and this. I have a picture of it, but it's really awesome.
So, green Lamborghini. So let's say we leave after this interview, and you got to run some errands, so you jump in your car, and all of a sudden you just hear this god-awful noise. You can tell it's not a motorcycle, but it's a car, and it's flying. And all of a sudden you see in your rearview mirror there's this green dot, and it's driving so fast it's out of control. It's probably driving 100 miles an hour on a 40-mile-an-hour, you know, speed limit zone. And you pull up to the red light, and all of a sudden the Lamborghini, you notice the Lamborghini flies up, slams on the brakes right next to you. And you look over, and there's a woman driving. Looks like she can barely even be 21 years old. Young and beautiful. Could be on the front cover of a magazine.
Whoa.
What's your first thought?
My first thought is to get her number and ask her to go out.
Now, normally when I say that story, it's the typical things. You know, oh, that's her dad's car.
What do you do?
Look at mama. Oh, she was lucky. It's not, you know, your thing. Oh, I need to get her number. She must be a very motivated young entrepreneur. That's not our first thought. So, you know, a lot of people, and I can understand why they would say that. You know, the only thing that I would say behind it is, you know, and here's probably the best way to debunk this if anybody thinks this. If my dad really built my group, and I was really lucky, and he had everything to do with my success, then why haven't made $1 million a year yet?
There you go.
Hey, if my dad built my group, we all know he can make $1 million a year. Why am I not?
There you go.
That's a simple way of, you know, explaining it. But, you know, I used to. When I first became successful, and I had a huge chip on my shoulder when people would ask me that. You know, my first response wouldn't have been what I just said. It would have been, you know what, screw you. You don't know how hard I've worked. You're just jealous. You're a hater. You know, and it took me a while to get over that, because I really don't care. I don't care what you think. You know what I mean? But, you know, I know, you know, Jonathan, that we've been able to work together, and, you know, it's just, I could care less what other people say about me. I do care what my family says about me. And in my, the people that I work with know that I care. They know I put in hard work. They see me time and time again at the meetings and putting the effort in. If they respect me, that's all I care about. I could care about anybody else and what they have to say. So, I just look at those people as ignorant, and I know they're always going to be there. Just like people that would say, hey, so-and-so got, Tiger Woods has got a God-given ability to play golf, and he was just lucky. No, he was on the Tonight Show or the Letterman Show at age 5 years old or 7 years old, I think, chipping balls in a bucket. That guy's worked his entire life to be where he's at. So, there's always going to be those, and, I don't necessarily look at it as some haters, because they just don't know any different anyways. And if they really did know how hard I work, they'd probably come up with another excuse for the reason why they're not successful.
Right, that's an awesome answer. Awesome. So, what is the most important things that we should be doing in our business on a daily basis?
On a daily basis, for me, and I still struggle with this as well, is to get in a good routine and something that you just stay consistent with. The more that you can stay consistent with something, the more successful you'll be. And I also, it really depends sometimes on internet marketing versus network marketing, because I think that a lot of people, what they do is it doesn't matter, is they overcomplicate things. They get in, they try to do a million things, and they do a million things 10%, and they don't become successful at anything. So, when people first start, is you really just got to master the basics. When I do tell this story about, when I first became successful in network marketing, is, by the time I was, making $2,000 a week, I never once did a presentation. I never once did a training. If somebody came up to me and said, hey, can you explain the comp plan to me? I said, yeah, it's really easy. The more people you put in the system, the bigger my check gets. And people would get mad when I would say that, but I wasn't interested in whatsoever explaining how to dissect the comp plan. I wasn't interested in any shape or form on how to explain the product. I just got really, really good at being excited and promoting other people. I could edify my father and put people in front of him. I could edify the product expert and put people in front of them. I just became very resourceful that if somebody really needed questions on the comp plan, I knew the handful of people, and hope people don't take offense when I say this, but I knew the 3 or 4 people in the office that knew the comp plan like the back of their hand, and they were always there to explain it to people for me because they weren't never making any money.
Yeah, there you go.
I always find that people that know the comp plan the best are usually people making the least amount of money, because they're sitting around all day contemplating to consider and studying and learning, all about the comp plan and the product, versus just being excited and going out there and just exposing it. So, I think that, getting in a routine and getting really, really, really good at, one thing and moving on. See, if you were just really, really, really good at calling leads, if you were just really, really, really good at helping people invite or cold market or whatever it is, that you can make tons and tons of money. It doesn't matter what company you're in. The other thing is, each and every day what people need to be working on, and once again I struggle with this as well, but is to be working on your why and selling yourself out every day. That's the biggest thing that I can tell people, is really find out what your purpose is, your why. Mine nowadays is, why I said I'm working on it, because I need to work on myself a little bit more of what I really want, because I wake up every day and I get to see my beautiful son, and that's enough to get me jacked out of my mind to go to work. Because there's things that I want for him. It's not necessarily about me anymore, but just consistently every day, think about that, because that's the one thing that'll get you not to quit. It's the one thing that'll get you to do, what you normally wouldn't do. So get in a routine, whether if you're full-time, and just be consistent with it. If you can only put in an hour a day, put in an hour a day, and be consistent with it. If you can put in 2 or 3, whatever it is, and just believe that you're going to get there. Just like I did to get the M3s. I had it on my phone screensaver. I had it on my computer screensaver. I had a picture of it hanging up on my wall. Monetary thing maybe is not the thing that motivates you, but get that. Another thing as far as your why, and I don't want to go too much into that, is have your unwavering why too. And I say my unwavering why is something that pisses you off, something that you're not happy with, because I think everybody edits their reality too much. I had a conversation with a lady the other day. She didn't have enough money to go to one of our events, but it was okay because one day she's going to retire her parents. And it's like, they just edit their reality. No, you're so broke right now that you couldn't even afford an extra $100 for a ticket to one of our events that it could change your life. I gave her a ticket after the event was done. I said, you need to hang this up on the wall and tell yourself every day that you're so broke you don't even have an extra $100. Yes. Yeah, you want to retire your parents one day, and that's all happy, and that's great. But what are you doing today that's going to get your butt out of bed and go to work? So, I know there's a long answer to it, but I really think is staying consistent and really mastering, my father always says, is mastering the mundane, and to keep you, as far as consistent in that, whether you pray, whether you read a book, or whatever it is getting your mind on that, your goal, your excitement every day, because that's really what's going to push you forward.
How many times, great answer, Robert, great answer, and how many times did you really feel like you really honestly wanted to quit, and what is it that really made you stay and keep going?
I can't tell you how many times I thought of doing it, really, especially in the very beginning, consistently, I think even sometimes when after I started making money and I seen the vision of it, there was never any question. I look back now and, some people might, think this is a joke, but it's the honest to God truth. I would have nightmares, and I still do sometimes, about having a job, about having a boss. And I know it sounds funny, but I remember waking up in cold sweats. I'd rather run from the boogeyman. I'd rather be chased by a knife than know that I had to get up this Monday morning and sit in rush hour traffic to have a boss. And I know people laugh when I say that and they think it's a joke, but it scares the crap out of me.
That's awesome.
But the thing that really kept me going, and it, just to piggyback on the last thing, was, what was my why, that, I really wanted to do this. And, not only that, but after I really got an understanding of network marketing and what could accomplish, I really wanted to leave a legacy and live up to the Hollis name. I think sometimes people say that, I'm lucky because I have a father like that. But if you're in my shoes, sometimes it's not as lucky because, people have such high expectations for you, and people, have this idea of what you should be. And I even remember that's when I retired at age 30 because I was just done. I was just saying, listen, I'm tired of all this. I love it. But hey, I'm making enough money. It's time for Robert Jr. to be Robert Jr. It turned into a beach bum. I was at the ocean every day. If you did get me on an interview, I'd probably be messed up here in a tank top because I'm just can't wait to get done to go swimming again. But what really kept me going, is that why. If your why is big enough, the how and what will come. And I had a lot of them, and I can't answer that question for anybody on this. You got to find out what really makes you tick, what really, really drives you. If it's not a car, if it's not money, think of being able to give back. I say that, and it doesn't have to be that big. Because there's always people in network marketing, I think sometimes we lose people, is this grand idea of making $1 million a year, $1 million a month, the Bugattis, the Lamborghinis, all this crazy stuff. And bottom line, that's really a small group of people out there that want that stuff. I remember doing a meeting one time, and I always do a theoretical example. And I actually did this with somebody the other day where I was going, okay, everything aside, let's say that we could just get you 4 new signups a month, and we stayed consistent. That would mean in 10 months from now, you'd be making $2,000 a month. because he said that $2,000 a month was enough for him to quit his job. And I said, would it be worth it to you? And the excitement over the phone, you could just feel it over the phone. You know, I one time sat with a single mother. She was there. And I get so passionate nowadays because I really love helping people. There's so many people out there that need that I shouldn't say but need help. That need help, period. You know, sitting with, I don't know where everybody's in the world watching this, but they have a thing in California right now. It's not called minimum wage. It's called poverty wages. Meaning that if you have a minimum wage job, that in order to survive, you have to get a second job and work anywhere from 60 to 70 hours a week to even survive in California. So they're now trying to pass a law saying it's poverty wages and raise minimum wage. And I'm sitting here, now she shows up, somebody did a Craigslist ad, so she kind of showed up thinking that this was a job. And she had a 6-month-old baby in her arms. Showed up to a job interview with a 6-month-old baby.
Wow.
And I said, well, you know, let's just say we could show you how to make $1,500 a month, or $2,000 a month.
Right.
I go, well, would you have any passions or dreams in life? And she goes, you're looking at it right here. And I go, so if we could teach you how to make $2,000 a month, would that allow you to spend all day, every day with your daughter? And you've seen her swell up. She almost started crying. I go, would it be worth it for you? And she looked at me and she goes, you're telling me I can make $2,000 a month and spend all day, every day with my daughter instead of having her have babysitters raise her? That would be worth it to me. See, you got to find, and you know, this may be help for other people because, you know, if you're always wondering why people quit and why people won't stick it out, is maybe your job as an upline is you haven't found what their why is. Some people just don't know what their why is. You know, sit down and take the time to get to talk to them and really tie down that emotional feeling. You know, having her say, well, yeah, I'd love to raise my daughter. Great. Well, getting her to actually mentally picture staying at home with her daughter every day, you know, it doesn't matter how many people tell her no. It doesn't matter how many people say she's stupid or that she's in a pyramid scheme.
Right.
She can whip out her picture of her daughter knowing that a stranger's raising her, and she'll work harder than anybody else that tells me they want to get a Lamborghini.
That's powerful.
Yeah, so, you know, really find something you're passionate about that, you know, and don't follow everybody else's norm, you know, because that's what everybody, well, what do you want? Oh, I want a home on the beach and a Lamborghini. Well, if that doesn't tie with you, great. Find something that does. And when you find that, it might not be network marketing or it might not be internet marketing or whatever it is, but you're going to kick yourself in the ass every day that you didn't accomplish that.
That's awesome.
That's what keeps me going.
That's a great story. Great story, and that truly is inspiring. You know, that you just have to find the person's why, what really is going to, you know, that they want, and then help them get it. So, yeah, that's an awesome answer, man. Great answer. So, what do you, in a few words, what do you consider leadership? What's the definition?
Leadership. Leadership is very simply is doing what you say you're going to do. First and foremost. You know, because a lot of people talk a lot. You know, I did a video on that. Is talk cheap. And the reason why people say talk is cheap is a lot of people say they're going to do something and they never follow through. So I think first and foremost, being a leader is doing what you say you're going to do and leading by example. You know, the other thing I think really as a leader is really being able to tell people what's up. You know, my father's one of the best people at that, you know, is not sugarcoating things. You know, I think that, you know, sometimes people that consider themselves leaders, they're always just pushing people and saying that they're going to do it and it's okay, and they don't really take the time to sit down and tell somebody for real what's going on. You know, I think a true leader is able to sit down with somebody and tell them that they're in the wrong, and tell them, you know, this is the way it is. You know, you know, like I said, it might take you a year to get here. You know, not, hey, just keep going. You're gonna make it. Just stay in there. Everything's gonna be fine. You know, sometimes you gotta tell people, listen, you're not doing this right. You gotta change and you gotta go to work. You know, leaders gotta be real with their people. Not only that, but also I think another huge thing as far as leaders is being able to adapt and listen to others. I feel that, especially in network marketing, and it doesn't matter, I think just when money is involved, is, a huge ego starts to come about. And it's their way or the highway, and they're so close-minded to getting criticism from other people and being able to grow. You always got to consistently grow as a leader, and if you're not doing so, then you're not a leader. And I guess really the true definition of a leader would be, when nobody's around, what do people say about you? And a leader is somebody that is leading people. How many people are following you? So I know a lot of people that say they're a leader, but you look behind them and there's not one person following them.
Right.
You say, well, what do you really think of this guy? Well, So that's really, to me, the definition of a leader, to be honest with you.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Here's a unique question. The network marketing model, the MLM. Do you see that kind of making a shift? We've seen it like with Vima switching to affiliate marketing. We've seen it with Modir, their customer-based model. Do you see a shift in network marketing, people changing the association to affiliate marketing rather than MLM? What do you have to say about that?
I think the only thing that's getting the shift right now is I know a lot of companies were really based on the hype and the excitement and the money and the hoorah, where, nowadays with the internet, people can do their research, they can figure things out. I really think, as far as the business model of network marketing, will probably stand the test of time and is going to be around for a long time in the future. Affiliate marketing is amazing as well, and it's just, I think, an add-on, an extension to it. But when it comes to just a straight-up product, when it comes to, because I feel like affiliate marketing is a great way to get products across. But when you're talking about like a physical product, whether it's a skincare or a coffee or a juice or whatever it is, bottom line, the best recommendation in the world is from somebody you know and trust. So there's always going to be shifts in network marketing, and if the companies can't adapt to it, they're going to fail. But, you look at some of these companies that have been around for, hundreds of plus years. I really think that, network marketing will stick around, because there's nothing better than, having a stay-at-home mom or a single mom have a coffee break and have her friends over and be able to share the skincare or, their makeup or coffee or juice or whatever the heck you're selling. And, a friend will support a friend and buy the product wholesale or retail or whatever it is, so there is a little bit of a shift, and I think that some companies are suffering right now because they're not utilizing things like internet marketing and affiliate marketing, because there's, so many people out there, and, going back to the ABCs, like I said, to always be closing, is, anybody can just do their research on the internet nowadays. I think back in the day where I feel the biggest shift with network marketing is that it used to be all rah, hype, excitement, money, closing. Where it's not like that anymore. It's more about making people trust you and see value and like the people that they're around in the environment for them to buy the product. Not just, you're going to be a millionaire sign on the dotted line. But, I also know there's other companies out there, and not going to say their names, that they're doing $500-600 million a year consistently in sales, and that's all they do is raw hype, money, closing. So, if you get a big enough army together, it's crazy what you can do. But I think the business model, it will be around for quite a while.
Okay, awesome, great answer, great answer. So, what do you think about social entrepreneurship? Sort of like Success in Minutes and Power Network, a Facebook, social media, new companies starting and making it really huge on making apps. Just social entrepreneurship. What is your definition of that, and where do you see that going?
I think it's awesome. I mean, absolutely amazing. If once again, I said if there's a shift in network marketing, it's because they don't realize that this is coming and how big it is.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. I mean, there's stories after stories after stories, I mean, of people that are using these platforms and making millions of dollars. I mean, and small things, even Epic Mealtime. I don't know if anybody's ever seen that, but it's a bunch of guys that just get together. They make the most outrageous meals you can ever think of, and eat them, and they're making millions of dollars a year. It's just crazy. And the other thing that I think that's super awesome about it, like for example, something like Success in Minutes, is that it's gonna allow a lot more people to be exposed to this amazing kind of stuff like mentorship and awareness and all that. If anybody right now thinks that it's being saturated and there's not an open market for it, I actually had some people I was talking to the other day, and they were saying, well, I don't know about videos, and there's so many people out there doing this stuff. Well, it's only because of the circle that you're in. And to prove it to you, because people just look at this little bubble online. At the time we're at a restaurant. There's a restaurant close to my house called Boston's, and there was probably, I'd say, like 25 people, in the bar area where the kind of lounge is. And I go, I'm gonna bet you guys right now, if you think it's saturated, who do you think's one of the most well-known, great inspirational speakers out there? And one of the guys said, well, Jim Rohn. Everybody knows Jim Rohn. I go, everybody knows Jim Rohn? Yeah. The waitress came over, and I said, hey, I got a question for you, ma'am. She goes, no problem. I go, do you know who Jim Rohn is? No. Why does he come in here a lot? I don't know him. I go, no problem, thank you. And I looked at him, and I go, do you want me to make a point? I'll bet you guys lunch. Go walk around here and find 2 people out of these 20 that know who Jim Rohn. Find one. And they wouldn't do it because they knew I was right.
Right.
So what I think's so cool about social media and social entrepreneurship is going to allow people to be exposed, the masses to be exposed to amazing stuff. And even if it's not people like Jim Rohn, I think the only difference between Robert Hollis Sr. and somebody like Jim Rohn is Jim Rohn didn't have the internet back in the day.
Yeah.
The only way to spread the word about him was you had to know somebody that knew where his event was going to be. You had to, think about that. There wasn't text blast back then. There wasn't even email blast back then. Right. You had to know somebody, physically talk to him, hand him a book from Jim Rohn, or I was about to say CD. It was probably a cassette tape or a VHS tape, which there wasn't even that many of them. So I think it's just amazing because we're really going to be able to see a lot of people shine, and the world's going to be changing, and I know a lot of people are fighting it, and I think it's just stupid. I think where most people are even fighting stuff like that is even like the youth nowadays. It's like I saw, and if anybody's online, it's like, oh, social media and technology's ruining us. We're not as sociable. And it showed a picture of everybody waiting for the bus, and they're all like this. Now one person's talking to each other, and when you scroll down, it was a picture, I don't know, but there was a picture of it. It's got to be back in the 40s, 50s, whatever, and there was the same amount of people, and they were all standing there with their newspapers open, staring at the newspapers. And it's funny because schools nowadays, I mean, they're starting to implement things like iPads, the internet, old textbooks. It's like, listen, I want to learn something, I'll Google it, and I get to watch a video on it. I think technology is so amazing, and where the youth is, why I said excited about people coming up faster, is they're growing faster. Their information comes faster, and now we got to label them as ADD. Well, these kids learn too fast and they're too sporadic. No, they don't have a problem. You're just too slow. So I think it's amazing, and it also is going to, cause some conflict sometimes because, like I said, it's the wild, wild west. So, people are really going to start looking at people going, okay, you're an expert, show me why. But as of right now, nobody knows the difference. You can run a Facebook campaign, and as long as you got a cool looking photo and a video, you can call yourself an expert and say you're a millionaire. Nobody knows the difference.
Documentation beats conversation. I learned that from from the Hollises.
Yep. Yeah, but I think it's amazing. I can't wait, to see the way, business is going to change. And, some of the people, you look at all the millionaires and billionaires being created through the internet and YouTube and Facebook and apps. It's awesome. I think we live in a really, really exciting times right now because it's just so much information available to us, and you're either going to take advantage of it or watch it happen.
Or there's also I seen a car that's coming out next year that you can actually fly. You know what I'm saying? And then I saw that I think it was Amazon or UPS or something or FedEx. There's actually a little chopper that goes to your house.
Yep.
And it delivers. There's a commercial I saw on Facebook.
Yeah,
it's just amazing.
They with those little drones, they're delivering packages and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, that was cool, man. So yeah, it's just exciting to see, everything just so changing, every day.
Yep.
So awesome. So do you believe that everybody can do this business?
That's a great question. I believe everybody can do this business if they're willing to put the commitment in and change. Because that is a tough question, because you see some people sometimes and they really, really just struggle. And it's because they just haven't grown yet. There are some people that, right out the box, they have a great personality. They can talk to people. They have a big warm market. Of course they can jump in something and become successful very quickly. And then you have other people that are very introverted, that maybe be awkward around people. They don't have too many friends and family. So how would somebody like that succeed? Well, I used to be very awkward. I didn't have too many friends. I wasn't sociable. I hated talking to people. And, I changed every spot that I have. So, especially with nowadays with technology, like you said, with things like Success in Minutes and being able to drive traffic and to get funnel systems and leads and stuff, that really opens the door for even people that I think could become successful in network marketing and not even really have to be a sociable person. So, I think everybody can do it if they're really willing to find a coach that can help them with it, be open to to certain areas and be willing to change and work on themselves. And I know that to be true, that I believe everybody can do it, because I'm not going to say any names, but I can off the top of my head right now think of like 5 people that I personally work with that if you asked me 2-3 years ago if I think they could have made it, I would have said no. People that I didn't, I saw them calling and it's like, oh, I don't even want, I wish they would just quit. They're so awkward. I don't like working with them. They're annoying, whatever it is. But people,
right.
I don't think in a million years they're going to pull this off. But guess what? They stayed consistent. They worked on themselves. They had a big why. They believed in it. And now they're making a full-time income. I'll even say it if Troy Olson ever watches this. He works with me in a couple businesses, and when he decided to work with me in a new company, I didn't want to work with him. I didn't listen. There was even people in the office, and Dad, this is a funny joke. We were going to lunch, and we saw him, and we actually, because we knew he would stop us and bug us and talk to us and follow us out to the what do you call it, the parking lot, we went out the side door. Now, that was 2 years ago, and now he's making a full-time income, and one of my best friends, and one of my strongest leaders that I have right now, because he didn't quit, he kept working on himself, so I do really in the bottom of my heart believe anybody can do this if they believe in it, but it goes back to themselves. Like I said, that quote, I'll say it again, whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. Biggest problem is people to start listening to other people and believing what people are saying. If everybody can change if you want to.
That's right. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great answer. What is the basic skills that you need to master to do this business?
The basic skills you need to master is very simply is talking to people and getting excited. You know, I think if you can master the art of just being able to talk to somebody and get excited, you're already way above what the average person would do. The second thing is to be able to follow a system. You know, every company's got a different system. They've got different videos. They've got different techniques. But if you can just get super, super excited, be able to talk to people, and get as many people as you possibly can in front of an effective presentation, that bottom line is really all you have to master in the beginning to become successful. You know, of course, you know, to become a mega leader like the masters that making millions of dollars a month, there's a lot of things you got to learn on the way. You know, how to do presenting, how to train, how to, you know, convert, all these things. But if you have a good upline, and if you have a good mentor and a coach, and you can just get jacked out of your mind and be able to talk to people and put people in front of them, that's all I think, in my opinion, you need to learn to become successful, because everything else you learn by doing. See, me, presentations. I used to be scared to death to do a presentation. Even to do an interview like we're doing now, I was crippled by fear of anxiety of doing this stuff. But guess what? I was at every one of my father's meetings. He used to do 4 or 5 meetings a day. I would have guests. I would sit in the front row. I would listen and take notes. I've seen my dad do an overview easily over 1,000 times, probably more if I really think about it, probably a couple thousand times. And then now people say, wow, you're a really good presenter. No, I heard it over and over and over and over again. The more you can put somebody on a 3-way call, or in a presentation where now you hear, you know, Jonathan, you know, answer somebody's questions over and over and over again, you're learning as you're doing that. I think that probably one of the biggest mistakes people make in this profession is they try to become an expert too quick. They try to be the deal too quick. If all you do is just get people in front of an effective presentation, and, you know, where to find them, guess what? That's, I think, you know, because that's a huge question, is where to find people. If you're asking where to find people, you need to go back to step 1, is being excited. Because with the Facebook nowadays, with cold market, with your friends and family, if somebody just really says to me that they ran out of people to talk to, it's just they ran out of excitement and they ran out of their, you know, their why. You know, so I honestly think to make it, that's probably the only thing you have to do. And of course, there's a lot of components as far as talking to people. You know, if anybody's seen The Expert from Afar, you know, I'm not going to go into all, you know, the basic trainings that I teach people, but if you can stick to basic steps of success of how to pique interest, how to invite, how to get excited and edify somebody else, edify a leader, you'll make more money than you can ever imagine. You know, going back to when I said that I couldn't explain the comp plan, I couldn't explain the product, I could get just jacked up and tell Jonathan's story. I could get jacked up and tell my dad's story. I could get jacked up, and you know, I made hundreds of thousands of dollars, ladies and gentlemen, by telling people I'm a stupid high school dropout. Don't listen to me, listen to Jonathan. You got to talk to this guy. I made hundreds of thousands of dollars on being stupid. You know, I honestly noticed that I made less money when I started being the deal. When I didn't have somebody that I could edify and put in front of the presentation, where it was like, listen, now you got to do the presentation, I couldn't edify myself as much as I could edify somebody else. You know, so I started doing presentations, and it's fun, it's great, but man, it doesn't make, being a great presenter, it doesn't make you as much money as being a great promoter. I can tell you that right now. So, you know, I know it's a long answer to what you said, but also probably a lot more simple than what people thought that I was going to say.
So I'm going to rewind that question right there, because I know that's going to help a lot of people. I know for me, that was my problem. That's why I didn't make as much money when I started, because I wanted to be the deal. You know, as a salesman, traditionally, and then coming into network marketing, that's where I was at. So it took mentoring and took time. So when somebody gets in the business, the thing is to edify somebody that's having success via video, via 3-way, via whatever. But the key is to deflect it off you and always be honest with them. that way there's no objections really. So if they tell you, let's say I ask you, you're brand new. So are you making any money, Robert? Why would I want to do this? How much money are you making?
Yeah, exactly. Well, when I tell people how to say that is say, no, I'm not making any money right now, but I'm being mentored by somebody that makes a lot of money. You know, I had somebody the other day, and I've never really thought of this, and I go, wow, so this is just like school. And I say, what do you mean? Well, my wife paid tens of thousands of dollars, went to school for 4 years to become an accountant. She makes an average income and hates her job. So you're telling me that if I pay money that it's like going to school to learn from a millionaire and I'm learning how to be rich? Yeah. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. So, you know, it's the same thing where people, and it's just people being ignorant once again. You know what I mean? You know, it's like, hey, listen, man, I'm jacked up. I'm going to be a lawyer. I'm going to make tons of money. I started going to school for this. Well, listen, how many people did you get acquitted? Like, dude, I just started school. You know, but if you can master that art of really edification, and once again, I said going back to being excited, because if people treated this like, if, I'll give you an example, if you said your next interview, get to the point, was with Bill Gates, was with Jay-Z, was with Kobe Bryant, how people would promote that. But see, where the key is if you got that excited and promoted like that for a leader in your upline or your company, you'll make millions of dollars. Millions of dollars. And, you know, not to touch on anybody's spiritual belief, but you know this system goes all the way back to the Bible? A prophet's not welcome in his own hometown. Or, I'm not a scholar, but you guys get the point. Meaning that, you know, you guys realize that people still, my personal friends still look at me as Robert the Stoner Skater. People still look at my father as Bobby the auto mechanic. So back in the day, it was, listen, you got to check this amazing guy out. You got to, you know, hear this thing. Well, what's this about? Listen, it's not about me. It's not, you got to talk to Jonathan. Well, then people start grilling Jonathan, and it's like, listen, man, I make okay money, but my mentor is this guy named Robert. You got to talk to him. Now, going back to the Bible, they finally get to meet Jesus. Well, what's going, listen, I'm nothing. It's all about God, my Father.
Yeah.
You know, because if you can get good at promoting and not, because in passing it off, that's one of the hugest skills that if you can learn is, you know, getting consistent and learning how to do that. You'll make so much money, it's ridiculous.
That's awesome. I know that when I've done some three-ways with you, you know, before, you just tell the story and you're honest and you always say it. Like you said, I've been in jail, I've been, you know, a stoner high school dropout, and you're just honest with people. And I think people really, really like when people are honest with them, and that's what really, you know, helps our industry have a good name by just being honest and telling stories like you do.
Absolutely, that's really what it's all about. Facts tell, stories sell. You know, you don't ever remember your parents reading you a nighttime fact story or facts book, did you?
Right. So another question. I know we have a few more questions, and this one right here. They want to know, Robert, what's your favorite place to find prospects?
My favorite place to find prospects, as far as cold market?
Yeah, cold market, yeah.
Facebook, absolutely.
Facebook.
Yeah.
And how about warm market or hot market?
Yeah, what? Say that again?
And also, so they only asked cold, but if you can elaborate on warm market and hot market.
Warm market is 100% tap rooting. This is a whole training I can't go really all to right now, but tap rooting is basically getting somebody to write down their list and helping them contact their people. If you get really good at helping people write down their list and helping people contact their people, there should be really no realistic reason why you ever have to cold market, you know, talk to people, because you know, everybody's heard that statement, every zero knows a hero. And, you know, The two reasons why it's my favorite thing to do is, one, you can take an average person that may not believe in themselves, that may not believe they can make money, but the second you help them sign up the people they know, they're jacked out of their mind and they're going to stick around for the long run. Well, now Don't Stop There is taking those people and helping them. Best example is I have a young kid that, was working with us for quite a while, and all he wanted to do was cold market. All he did was Craigslist ads, try to talk to people at the mall, and I would say it was probably a solid good 6 months, and he never really made a check. And he sat down with me and he was frustrated, and I said, listen, tell me right now, do you believe in our product? Well, absolutely I believe in the products. And I said, no, you don't. And he goes, excuse me? And I said, if you really believed in our company and products, you wouldn't introduce me to somebody you actually care about. Because if you believe in the products but you won't even tell people you care about, you don't believe in our products. Well, that was harsh. And I go, do you believe in our training? Do you believe in your upline? Absolutely. You guys have helped me so much. I'm being motivated. I'm being trained. I go, you don't believe in us. Excuse me? If you believed in us, you'd introduce me to some of your friends. Okay. So introduces us to his cousin. Cousin got it, excited, ready to sign up. His cousin says, listen, let's do a home coffee break, a home meeting. I said, no problem. He had 8 people there, all 8 signed up. Out of
Wow.
one of the 8, his aunt has made decent money, and she was actually in Mary Kay.
Wow, that's awesome.
I love this opportunity. I love supporting my family. And by the way, I want to buy one of the huger packages because I want to do this as well. I think I can make more money doing this than Mary Kay. And that happened in a span of a week. So here's a guy that was struggling for 6 months, never made money, finally introduces me to his cousin. His cousin has a home meeting that introduces me to his aunt that's now signed up in the company, and I don't know how many people. He went 6 months with really nobody on his team, and I think now he's up to like 30, mid-30s that's already in his group, and that happened within the last couple weeks.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So it comes back to just getting excited and being a product of the product, huh?
Yep. Yeah, and when it comes to Facebook, I love Facebook because when it comes to cold market, there's so many people out there that you can meet and that you can talk to. Just like you said, Jonathan, I've got so many people on my Facebook that I'm friends with that are in other companies that maybe aren't in network marketing but have the same beliefs as me. It's so awesome to be able to reach out and do that kind of stuff, because me, if I was going to do cold marketing, and I still do, I personally am not the kind of guy that likes walking up to people at the mall. I'm
Right.
not that kind of guy. I do cold market all the time. As far as somebody that my waitress or somebody that helps check me out or whatever. But a lot of times I'm really good at balance, where if I'm gonna just relax and go out to hang out with my wife or do something relaxing, then I'm not always in business mode. So I personally don't like just walking up to strangers. Even though I know it works, I've had people do it before. But Facebook is so easy to build trust and respect and love with somebody over the internet, and then ask them, hey, by the way, are you open to seeing what I'm doing?
That's awesome. I got 2 more questions, and they're really going to be awesome. So if someone that's been in the industry for a while, Robert, me and you and a lot of people in this industry have had friends that just never made it and never made a dime. Just fell for years and years, and they know what to do, they just don't do it. What would you consider to tell them? What would you tell them to quit? Would you tell them to keep going? I mean, what advice would you give somebody that's going through a massive struggle right now?
And that's a tough one. I have people, that I've worked with, and even close personal friends that have, that struggle. And then, it really just goes back to what they're doing and if they believe in it. I wouldn't tell them ever to quit, because I look at this profession as a personal development opportunity with a compensation plan. So, even though they might be struggling, have them look at the bright side. Have you changed as a person? Have you got any value? Is the connections that you've made been worth it? But also, I think if some people are struggling, a lot of times it comes back from working out of desperation. I see some people sometimes that they have to get this done and they work so hard at it and they're so desperate that it doesn't work. If you're working at a place of desperation, start there. If you got to get a job to make sure your bills are paid, or if you more or less just have fun with it, it could be the company that you're with. It could be your upline, because when you get passionate, excited about somebody, it's not a struggle, and it goes all the way back to, one of my favorite books is Science of Getting Rich and the Law of Attraction. If you're getting up every day saying, I got to make this work, I have to make this work because I need to make money, and I just got to sign some people up today so I can pay my bills, it's not going to happen. But if you're coming every day excited, enthusiastic about what you're doing and excited to tell people about it, and, excited for the meeting to have your people there, it just happens naturally. And it's funny because it's just bottom line something you can't teach. You cannot teach in this profession. It's the weirdest thing ever why somebody can jump in, be jacked out of their mind, have all the faith and vision in the world, and they kick butt, and then somebody else on the sideline has been in for years and years and has the knowledge and knows what to do, and they just can't get it to click. If that's really a true question I could answer, I believe I'd be a billionaire. If you could get inside everybody's head and figure out why they're not succeeding, it's amazing. And I do have a lot of close personal friends that are in that area, that have tried really, really hard, and they just, for whatever reason, just can't get it to click. But, also outside looking in, a lot of people justify and blame things where they say they're working hard, they say they're following the system, but if you really monitored what they're doing, they're not doing it.
Right.
They're not doing what you're telling them to do. They're not following the company system, and more importantly, they're not putting in the work. Everybody says that they're putting in work, but if you really see what super successful's daily habits are, and the amount of work you really have to put in, you're busting your butt. Is this easy? No, it's not. Is it harder? And to me, it's a lot easier than getting up every day and sitting in traffic to listen to a guy you hate tell you what you're worth. But if this was easy, everybody would do it. So I personally would tell somebody to never quit. Maybe even get them to look at the other side of things. They're not making money, but are they growing as a person? Are they enjoying what they're doing? But if they can look at you and they're struggling and they say, listen, I don't feel like I'm growing and I don't enjoy this, then quit. If you're not growing and you're not having fun, you're sure as hell not going to make money.
I like what you said. You told me one time, you said, look, if you don't like what you're doing right now or the way things are going, guess what? Look in the mirror, fire yourself, and rehire yourself the next day.
Absolutely. Best recruiting tool we have is a mirror.
Yeah. I always remember when you told me that, and that was really just funny to me, and it's so true at the same time.
That's funny.
I fired myself a lot of times, so.
So have I.
Yeah, and rehired myself the next day.
Yeah.
So this is the last question, and it's what is your greatest accomplishment in your life?
My greatest accomplishment in my life.
Yes. You can give me a couple if you can't just pick one.
Hold on one second.
All right. This should be a great surprise. I'm excited.
Sorry, he's sleeping. I didn't want to wake him up.
Awesome.
So I have to say to date, having my beautiful son and my fiance Amy, I think is one of the most amazing accomplishments in the world. I don't think I'd ever, really looking back, who I used to be, I never considered myself somebody that would, really settle down like that. And even when I had Ryder, it's like, oh my gosh, what's going on? You know, how's this going to change my life? So I personally, I know there's a lot of amazing things that I've been able to do in my life, but you know, becoming a father has gotta be one of the best ones up there.
Do you have your smartphone with you? You can show us a picture.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All right. Awesome.
Let's see here. I don't know if you guys can see this.
Oh wow.
Sitting up in his little seat, 6 weeks old.
So cute. So cute. That's amazing.
Yeah, so, like I said, priorities change all the time, you know. So, yeah. And, I mean, that's way more amazing to me than anything else that I've been able to do. Miracle.
Incredible, incredible, and congratulations. So, the last thing, you know, this is your parting thoughts. You know, what advice would you give to somebody that's looking at, you know, starting a home-based business, looking to change their life, that's looking for a new way? People that are currently in home-based business, you know, people that just need to be inspired in life and business. What would you say? And also, let the people know where they can connect with you if they're interested in working with you. If you know, they want to be get some training from you, where would they connect with you? And it's your final thoughts.
Absolutely. Well, to be able to connect with me, you can check out my blog. It's at caughthedream.com. So CAUGHTTHEDREAM, caughthedream.com. Or just look me up on Facebook, Robert Hollis Jr. If you want to reach out to me personally, make sure you send me a private message so I can add you, because I'm so close to 5,000 that I still want to keep it open for, you know, new people that are coming in and people that I'm seeking out for mentorship. But you know, in closing thoughts, I think that the biggest advice that I'd really give people is to, you know, just sell yourself out, you know, on this idea that you can make it, that you are great and you can accomplish this. You know, I just believe so many people right now in America are just being voluntary victims. You know, it blows me away how many people I meet on a daily basis, a weekly basis, that have just already accepted the fact that life sucks, that life's hard, that, you know, hey, I hate my job, but at least I got one. You know, I don't really like where I'm at, but hey, it's too late to change. And, you know, I think that's why America's doing so bad right now. It's just everybody's sitting around being voluntary victims and, you know, blaming a situation or an environment or a person for the reasons where they're not at where they want to be in life. I feel like it's just sad that so many people have been conditioned to just accept things. You know, and almost to a point where, like the Matrix, where, you know, so conditioned of, you know, that's the way it is, that even when people are approached by an opportunity, why people are skeptical and shut it down. And people have to understand that this is just sorting. You'll find people at the right place at the right time. You know, but don't get mad at those people when they say that, you know, they're not open, or don't get mad at people when they say that these things never work, because they've been conditioned their whole life to think that way. I think it's just, you know, it's almost pure ignorance. You know, when we said it back, going back on the word ignorance, it's not a bad word. It just means you don't know that you don't know. It's where racism starts. You know, Grandpa told Dad, Dad told you, you don't know any better, and that's why you believe that way. But once you're educated on what you believe and what you think is wrong, and you continue to believe and do those things, you go from being ignorant to stupid. See, there's ignorant people out there, and there's also stupid people out there. So if you're watching this, it probably means that you're in some type of network marketing company or a home-based business company, and for some reason you got sold out on that idea. Be sold out on it. You know, if I can do it, you can do it. If, you know, you look over the history of, you know, people in home-based businesses, however bad you are right now, honestly, to me, means you got a better shot. Because over the history of success that I've seen, it's always the underdogs that make it. It's always the people down and out. You know, going back to what I said for the people that can never make it, one of my advice is, you know, the guy knows what he's doing. He's been in the industry. I said that he needs to, you know, put himself in a bad position because he was just too comfortable. You know, so why I'm saying all this is I know you can do it. Just believe in yourself and don't give up. You know, this is going to be an uphill battle, but is it worth it? Absolutely. Just, there's so many people that just won't participate in their own rescue. I heard that from Les Brown, and when I heard that, it's so true, because people would rather sit around and complain and be down on life and not like their situation than even try to do anything. So, if you're watching this, you got to give yourself the benefit of the doubt that you're already, well, your awareness and heightened, sense of reality is already way better than most of the people out there in the world. And there's so much room at the top, it's ridiculous. So, the biggest advice I would give to people is, if you can really believe in this and sell yourself out on the idea that I can make it, that this is a better way, that if I continue to find mentors and mentorship that can teach me what to do and I can work on myself, that I can make this happen. Doesn't matter if if you just want to quit your job, if you want to spend more time with your family, or if you're somebody that wants a Lamborghini and live on the beach, you can accomplish it. It's just up to you. The only reason why you wouldn't is you'll give up and you'll stop seeking out mentorship and growing on yourself. So on closing thought, that's the biggest thing I tell people, because it frustrates me in a sense to know that we can help people, but so many people have just given up, and even young people sometimes, it's just so sad that everything, I feel like, is geared on the, you look on television and it's just negative stuff after negative stuff after negative stuff. Where the hell on the primetime television is there the motivational freaking hour? It's like, gosh, we need it so bad. It's just not being fed to us. So, even if you don't believe in network marketing or your whatever product, at least wrap your head around the idea that you can help people. There's the stories out there of, my father and people like Jim Rohn and Les Brown that, each and every one of you watching this can share a video like that with somebody that can change their life. Money's great, but to have somebody come to you and said, wow, you changed my life, and, I'm a different person now because of the videos you shared with me is as gratifying, if not more gratifying, than getting a big check in the mail. So, I don't think it'll happen to you until you can sell yourself out, really, and I'm sure everybody hearing this right now can hear the passion in my voice and how excited I am about it. But if you can get there, you're going to be unstoppable, and I believe in each and every one of you.
That's awesome, Robert. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This interview was amazing. I know it's going to help thousands of people. And you know what? If anybody's looking to get into network marketing or looking for someone that knows what they're doing, you got to connect with Robert Hollis Jr. He really knows what he's doing. He's helped many people, hundreds, thousands of people, and I've learned a lot from him. Many people have. So if you want to know how to do this business the right way and the correct way, connect with Robert Hollis Jr. Go to his fan page, send him a message. I'll put all his information below this interview. And again, thank you for your time. Congratulations on your son, and look forward to seeing you soon at the event out there. Hopefully it'll be this year.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you so much, Jonathan, for having me on, man. I'm so proud of you for stepping out and doing these kind of videos, and how much you've grown, man. You're a true leader in this profession. I know you're just a powerhouse. Everybody you work with, you help, and you get them a check. And same goes back to you guys. I'm sure if you're already following him, you know that Jonathan Puga is the man. If I could do it all over again, I'd sign up underneath somebody like Jonathan. So it's great to be able to be in a profession where we can help each other out. And once again, you're starting to be a brother to me as well, man. So I appreciate it.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you, Robert. And for more information on the next episode and for who you want me to interview, just go to jonathanpuga.com. Sign up under Get to the Point, and I look forward to the next show. And I hope you got some value out of this. Please comment, like, and share. You have a wonderful and blessed day, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.